All right. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Carver Conservation Commission meeting of Wednesday, December 6th, 2023. This meeting is being cablecast by Area 58 Community Access Media, Channel 15, and will be posted by Area 58 on YouTube as soon as possible. We'll go right to our agenda and our order of business this evening. The first item on our discussion list is a certificate of compliance for DEP file SC 126-473.
Okay. Myself and the commissioners, we went out and took a look at the property, and this is just for a septic system, the COC, and the order of conditions was as well. And we all pretty much agreed that they built it as the plan showed. I have the as-built plan, and one caveat that the chairman wanted to put forth is, and I'll mark up a plan, to have several conservation signs placed along, the tree line.
That's correct. Is there anyone here from the...
This was presented to us by a law firm. It was for a closing for a sale,
Okay.
so I'm it, I guess.
Okay. All right. So, yeah.
It's pretty straightforward. It's just a septic system, and it was a repair.
Right, and it's very close to wetlands, as you can see by the plan. So we'd like to have the wetlands delineation signs posted at the tree line.
Yep. And what I'll do is I'll take a copy of the plan and I'll mark it up, and I'll do some X marks the spots where we'd like to see them. How's that?
All right, that sounds fine. Okay. I will entertain a motion to approve the COC for DEP file 126473.
So moved.
Second.
All right, Dave moved, Curtis seconded it. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And it's approved 5-0. Let me take a second here to welcome our new member. I'm sorry, I should have done that first.
No worries.
Ann Chadwick Diaz has joined our little crew here today. So we've got quite a few new faces in the last year or so. So guess that means I'm getting old.
Oh, don't say that.
Okay. Next up, December 20th meeting discussion.
Okay, I have so far in the docket 2 extensions. That's it. So, it's up to you folks if you want to hold the meeting. Now, the expiration date on those order of conditions are in May. So it's not like, they have to have it done right away. So it's up to you folks, like I said, whether you want to meet or not.
And that's all we have.
So far, that's all we have are those 2 extensions.
And it's too late to post anything if we were to get an NOI.
Yeah, it's close enough.
I mean, it's 2 weeks from today.
Right.
All right, so what's the flavor of the commission? You want to wait till January 3rd, till our next one? If we got no new business. If we got 2 things that can be postponed?
They can be postponed. Yeah, they're, like I said, they don't expire till May. We do it in January. They've got plenty of time.
All right.
Yeah,
Is that good with everyone?
That's fine.
All right,
Yeah.
so we'll meet again in 4 weeks from tonight, on the 3rd of January, and we'll
Sounds good.
forego the 20th of December. Great. Okay, night off.
Sure we could find something to do with that time?
Okay, next up is 17 Wareham Street, an update.
Good evening, members of the commission. I'm Brad Holmes with Environmental Consulting and Restoration. Along with me this evening is Chris Magalewski for his property at 17 Wareham Street. This is a submittal to an enforcement order the commission issued for work or activities within the eastern portion of Chris's property along Wareham Street. You'll see in our submittal, we put together an analysis, photographs, and a aerial plan with a proposed restoration proposal. So if you go to the past the photograph pages, you'll see an aerial image with a drone picture. We've delineated the inland bank mean annual high water line of the perennial stream and the bordering vegetative wetland. There's obviously the buffer zone and riverfront area extending off those resource areas. And within the eastern portion of the site, There's a shed and fencing that corrals goats within that area. As you know, the majority of the property consists of land and agricultural use. It's operational cranberry bog and those activities that go along with cranberry growing. But the eastern portion of the site abutting Wareham Street, I guess you could say that may or may not be within land and agricultural use, so we're not disputing that or looking into that at this point. We're coming forward to the commission with a restoration proposal. And within that area, as I mentioned, is fencing and a shed. So what we're proposing to do is to relocate any portion of fencing that's within the bordering vegetative wetland and extending to the perennial stream. And we would relocate that fence to the 25-foot buffer zone, or just along the 25-foot buffer zone line, and then merge it onto the existing access road that goes along the upland bog. That would remove that fencing from the resource area and ensure that the goats don't go below the 25-foot buffer and into the wetland system. The shed that is there is just within the 65-foot buffer zone. It sits within an area of existing, maintained berm or road. We asked the commission to allow the maintenance of that shed in that location. It's a small shed, and that would address the activities in that area and respond to the commission's enforcement. So the main activity is to relocate the fence at least 25 feet from the wetland line, and the shed to remain as is. So with that, I'll bring it back to the commission. You obviously saw the photograph pages, and we did include some of the language from agricultural exemptions, but we're here to work with the commission and respond to the enforcement order.
All right, thank you. We've been out to the site as well, and saw it in nicer weather when this was first brought to our attention. I think our conservation agent has done some investigating with the DEP. Do you want to?
All right, I've checked out with DEP back in July regarding this and agricultural use. All right, you got agricultural use out in the property, all right? But where you put the fencing, it's forest and shrub. Forest and shrub, both in my opinion and DEP's opinion, is not agricultural use. It's forest and, shrub. So it's not exempt.
I'm not, as I said here,
Right.
we're not coming to the commission and say.
Well, no,
we're not
I'm just
doing
saying,
any
so
activities
you know
because
where
exempt.
so you know where we're coming
Right,
from.
no, I understand what you're saying, and that's
Right.
why we're proposing to remove it. There would be there are exemptions like clearing within 100 feet and that kind of activity.
Right.
We're not proposing that. Obviously, that would be more of a significant activity than the fence.
Right. But that he just, the chairman asked, so.
Yes, no, I agree, and that's, as I said, we're looking to work with the commission and resolve this issue.
All right, comments from our people on the commission?
Leave the shed where it is?
Yes, it's to just pull it forward, it's the same location that it's at.
You can't move the shed out of the 65-foot buffer? Would be,
You could, it doesn't, I mean, at the end of the day, it's already, it was previously open berm road area, it's a little bit of a,
this here isn't a working bog, right?
it's an upland bog, correct?
Is this an active bog, though? It doesn't look like it from the picture, and I haven't been out there. This part right here is not an active bog.
It's not active, it's an upland area, so it's
Right.
not it's not wetland. I don't know how, when it was.
Well, my train of thought is we could move it over to there and get it out of the 60-foot buffer if we wanted to.
We have a problem if we pull it just beyond that line.
It's a lot of work.
What kind of shed is it? Is it easily movable? It's not cemented to the ground? It doesn't have a foundation under it? Or?
If you look at the photos, page 1, it's a small shed. It's probably 8 by 10 kind of thing. I-
Thank you. Personally, I'd like to see it out of the 65-foot buffer.
Dave, anything?
So you're still proposing to keep the goats, though, within the 65-foot buffer, though, right? Yeah, that's
Correct.
it.
We
Yeah.
maintain a fence at the 60, we maintain the fence at the 25-foot buffer. And then, so the Conservation Commission has rules and regulations in their bylaw for 65-foot, no build and no impervious structure. So I don't think the fencing would be within that realm of 65 feet.
Well, it's not the fencing, it's the goats that's the issue, because they ate up all the vegetation. That was the issue. The fence wasn't necessarily, a bigger problem for us was the goats and how they pretty much destroyed that whole wetlands there. I mean, the buffer zone, anyway.
And there's also the issue of their waste, feces and urine. I mean, are you picking the urine and, I mean, they can't do the urine, pick the feces up, or is it just going down and eventually into Crane Brook? That's another issue. Because the goats are going right there to the edge of the water.
Well, we're proposing to relocate it.
Well, no, but I mean, today, you know, right now as it stands.
Right, if they're in the woods and.
Right. So that's a concern.
Right, that's why we're here to
Well, right.
relocate the fence.
All right, I want to look something up. Just give me a quick second here, please. Just looking at the bylaw that you cited in your, that you quoted in your letter today was changed by town meeting in April and is a lot stronger than this language. It now includes any change, any alteration at all. It's not just structural or, so I'm looking for the language that is in effect as it stands right now. If you give me just a quick second. Talk amongst yourselves. All right. The language now states that except as permitted by the commission through the issuance of a variance, no person shall remove, fill, dredge, alter, or build upon or within 100 feet of any bank. The key word there is alter. What these goats are doing is altering the 65-foot area. Whenever we issue a variance for any kind of tree removal within the 65-foot, we always require that the applicant retain the stumps to control erosion. Most of what is within the goat enclosure is smaller underbrush. And they were pretty much denuded of all their leaves when we saw them last time. So that means they're not going to survive. And when they don't survive, their root structure doesn't either. You cited in your letter that that there is no visible erosion at this point, which is probably true because the root structure is probably still somewhat viable. It's not going to be without leaves on the bushes. So if you can make the goats stop eating the leaves, it might be something that we could look at, but I don't think that's going to happen. 25 feet is I mean, our rules are 65 feet for a reason. And that is to keep the root structure and all the understory viable within 65 feet of any BVW. And this is even a riverfront, which has even stronger restrictions on it as far as the area that is sort of under our auspices. If you want to proceed with this, your letter also states that on behalf of the property owner, ECR respectfully requests a variance. This is in our discussion section of our meeting this evening. If you want to continue and try to get a variance, then I believe that you're going to have to do a notice of intent, notify all your abutters, get a full plan of where this fence is going to go, and talk to the conservation agent about getting on the agenda to come in front of us with a full notice of intent for what you want to do to alter this property.
And I didn't, I'll have to find that, the bylaw, the new bylaw. I didn't have a copy that the reference is what was available from the commission's website. So I'll have to
Okay,
get a copy of
it
the
was,
bylaw.
it was approved by, the 90-day appeal period was up on November 8th. It is on the town,
Clerks.
Okay, that's not a problem.
Yeah.
I anticipated this to be two discussions.
Okay.
So I'll look at that and we'll come back to the commission.
okay,
I think the fencing was in place prior to April, and there are other aspects. So another route would be to file a notice. There's opportunities for permitting, if that's where we're going to move it to, and we'll coordinate, Chris and I will coordinate on that. There's also the ability to prepare and submit a request for determination of applicability. As I stated, and you look and you see the agricultural exemptions, fencing, clearing, there's a lot of activities for normal maintenance of land and agricultural use and normal improvement for land and agricultural use. Those may apply to this kind of activity as well. So we'll, if we're going to go towards permit applications, we'll...
all right, if you'd like to go that route, we can. I mean, Gary has already said that DEP has said that the type of ground cover that was there before, the understory, is not applicable in this case.
And that
but-
area where the goat, my review of the aerials, and I have to take a better look, where the goat shed and that berm has been in that similar condition, I think, if you look through the aerials.
I personally am not talking about the goat shed. I'm talking about the fence being 25 feet from the river.
Just of that area.
Okay.
And then the buffer zone. So we'll coordinate and we'll come back to the commission.
Okay.
But the intent was to get in front of you, let you know that we're responding, put together a submittal, and as I said, we're looking to work with the commission. So
Okay.
if we have to permit and get out of the response, as far as the enforcement scenario and go into permitting, we can do that.
Okay.
We'll manage it through the enforcement, so we'll be back to the commission.
Okay, that's fine.
So in the meantime, though, the goat's still staying there? So what's happening?
Yes, we haven't done anything until we have the commission's approval.
How quickly can you do this?
I don't know the exact route that I'm gonna go, that
Okay.
we're gonna go yet, so, but we're not gonna, we're not gonna let it sit. We'll come back to the commission.
Okay. All right, I'd like to have you back here before, by our first February meeting at the latest. It's 2 months.
That's fine. I was planning on having something, in January.
If you can do it sooner, that's great.
Yes.
But I don't know what it is that you're, how much you have to discuss and how much research you have to do, but if you can get it in January, that would be great, but I'd like it at least by the first meeting in February. All right, any other comments from anyone?
I have a question.
Yes.
So I did not get to see this site. Is there vegetation left to be eaten by the goats? So I guess
It's hard to tell now
Okay,
because all the leaves are down.
okay.
We probably have to wait till spring and see if these have rebounded. But there was you could tell how high the goats could reach
Okay,
when we were there, because everything underneath there was pretty much gone.
I see. I'm just trying to understand like what more damage can happen and, just think about time frame, but,
Right, it's more the erosion, it's more the fact that it's riverfront
Okay.
than anything else.
All right.
That's the river that comes out of Is it the one that comes out of Sampson's? No, is it?
I think
Yeah.
so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Believe so.
Okay,
Thank you very much. Sorry, I'm,
all right.
lots of questions.
Okay.
I'm new.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Okay. Minutes we'll get to after we do everything else. All right, we have 2 new public hearings and 1 continued public hearing, so we'll get to the 2 new ones first. West Street Culvert, a request for the determination of applicability, an RDA. And this is the, where Ward Street has collapsed, where the culvert runs under it from the pond down to the bogs to the south of it. So I will read this. Notice is hereby given in accordance with the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act, MGL, Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Carver Wetlands Protection Bylaw, that a public hearing will be held at 7:00 p.m. on Wednesday, December 6, 2023, in Meeting Room 1 at the Carver Town Hall to hear the request for a determination of applicability, an RDA, filed by the Town of Carver to determine whether the area and/or work depicted on the RDA reference plan is subject to the jurisdiction of any municipal wetlands ordinance or bylaw of the Town of Carver. The RDA is for repairing the Ward Street culvert by installing head walls to eliminate future water seepage. The property is located at the Ward Street culvert adjacent to South Meadow Pond. Assessor's map, public right-of-way, lot not applicable in Carver. All interested parties are invited to attend. Hi, guys.
Good evening. Thank you for having us. I'm Dave Seenthoff, Director of Operations and Maintenance, Town of Carver. With me is Andy Stackpole. He is from Field Engineering. He is representing the firm we have engaged in a contract with to do the design of the repairs. And I will let Andy take it from here.
Good evening.
Hi.
I believe has everyone been out to the site to see this site?
Yeah, we were there today.
Okay, great. I put these plans together just so obviously you've been there, so you know where it is. Obviously, South Meadow Pond, South Meadow Road down here to the northeast, northwest. As you can see, I think everyone has a copy of the plan. What we attempted to do here was, obviously, there's quite a bit of erosion on both sides of the culvert, and obviously the north side toward the South Meadow Pond, there's quite a void right next to where the riprap is on the side, head wall. So what we looked at was, how can we minimize the amount of work that we're going to be doing, or even try and stay out of the water. So we designed a system where we're basically going to be driving sheet piling into the existing roadway to act as the water stop to avoid future erosion from the sides of the culvert. And then we're basically going to use flowable fill. We're going to be putting a geotextile within the void on the South Meadow Pond side, and filling that up with flowable fill. I don't know if you know, flowable fill is basically a controlled density fill. It's a very viscous type of concrete. So we won't have to do any excavation, we won't have to get in the pond, we won't have to put any property in there. I'm hoping that will suffice. They'll seal that off, fill it up, stabilize the road. And then working our way downstream, coming through with the voids, we're going to be resetting. I don't know if you saw on the downstream portion, those boulders, all that was washed out. We're going to have to remove those boulders, put some gravel fill in there with a geomembrane that's going to hold everything back for the future if this ever tries to happen again. And then use flowable fill to fill up the rest of the void to bring it up to grade. With the usual 18 inches of subgrade gravel below when we replace the asphalt. You probably saw there's some electrical service lines going through there. It's going to be a little tricky to get around, but it should work. So geomembrane is the key to this, being able to hold everything back, keeping all the sedimentation. You probably saw how much is actually eroded and gone into the stream. We talked to Gary, so basically it really isn't worth going down and trying to get that stuff back out. It's going to do more damage than it would. So all the work we're proposing is in the roadway, right away, besides the boulder section on the downstream side. So we're really not impacting any water sources. We might have a little bit of dewatering if we find something that we have to get down below to check out the culvert below grade, look at actual footings, dry piles. Obviously, you don't want to dry piles into the footing. We'll have to look at that. So again, we know this is a time critical repair. So we tried to look at the best options to repair without having to get in the water or creating any further degradation of the environment. I don't know if you have any questions?
Okay. Just so everyone knows, I picked the RDA as a mechanism to notify the DEP and to satisfy the bylaw because this has to be done in writing, okay? This notice, and it has to be done 14 days ahead of time, which they've done. They had this paperwork and I time-stamped it in November 21st. So it'll meet that, and I want to notify DEP also with how you folks vote on this. It's exempt anyway from the state's regs, 310 CMR 1024 7C2, and also 310 CMR 1053 3I. And also, like I said, it's exempt in the Carver bylaw. We just have to be, as a town, notified in writing, which they did with the RDA. So, you know, everything's satisfied for the DEP regs and for the town bylaw.
Okay. I have a question that's more for my curiosity than anything else. What caused the erosion in the first place? Was it, was it just either side of the culvert?
It's basically the eastern side that's most eroded. You probably saw the crevice under there, but I believe it was over time that there was probably some overflow events that actually crested over the road and eventually worked its way underneath and then slowly started working its way out. It's all, theory, but, based on that volume that was lost under there, it definitely occurred, when there was a substantial rainfall. That you saw the spillway there. It can only handle so much, the width. So you could, if you one of those massive storms that we had that had flooding here over the last 10 years, that no one was out there looking, right? So we paid attention to other areas of town that had severe erosion, but we just didn't see this. So that's what I believe it could have occurred.
And we were notified October 2nd, actually, the bog owner called my department and said, someone needs to come out, I think we have an issue. First, my deputy director, John Woods, went out, called me, come out and take a look, and at that, seeing the void that was under that road, right then, we made the determination that the road needed to be closed. Through this process, the culvert appears to be intact. So what we're looking at doing this is, we'll call them head walls, and making sure those are bonded to the culvert, basically to prevent any bypass and anything that's in that wants to make its way downstream will now be forced to go through the culvert as the intent.
Okay. I guess part of my question is that I see the width on either side of the culvert of the sheet piling. And I'm just wondering if the water could find a way around the ends now, even though it's wider.
Yeah, it can. We excavated test pits on both sides of the road. It all pretty much was very clean gravel fill. So, and we know that was all man-made, the whole structure across it was basically a dike that's holding back the pond. So you can keep going, but
Yeah.
water's going to want to find its
Okay.
easiest path. So we believe that because of the elevation of the road and being a little bit lower, and that's where water wants to flow toward the lowest spot. So I think we're protecting that section. And as you work your way out, the roadway comes up a little bit, and I believe
Okay.
that will stop the
That was going to be
road.
my next question.
Right.
So, okay.
Yep.
All right.
So you're going to block it off for how long? You're going to stop the water flow, right? Totally go through the spillway?
No, that's why we're trying to do the flowable fill, because we've
gonna-
already lowered the gates as much as we believe we need to. And then with the flowable fill, we'll be able to fill that void on the upstream section without affecting the water.
Oh, so it'll continue to flow
Yes.
normal? Okay.
Sir. Yep.
Okay, good.
And the sheet piling is going to stay as a
Yes, sir.
permanent? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. So I think that, what is your recommendation? A negative determination 1? Is that what you had
Yes.
said?
Well, no, on this one, it would be, hold on, let me get my paperwork out.
Because we normally do 3s.
Because one is going to be for Silva. This would be 3.
Oh, this would be a 3.
Yeah.
Oh, so, okay. All right.
And I'm just gonna, any note I'll put on it will be just to follow, the erosion controls per the plan.
All right. Okay, any other questions from anybody? It's a public hearing. Does anybody from the audience have any questions regarding this? Okay, no one's coming up, okay. So I will accept a motion for a -3 determination on the request for the determination of applicability. And once again, with RDAs, a negative is a positive.
And
So-
the plan date is a revised date, just for the record, December 2nd, 2023.
Okay,
So moved.
all right, moved by
Second.
Carl, seconded by Dave. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, it's approved 5-0. Thank you, gentlemen.
Very much.
Thank you, guys.
Nice
Thank
work.
you.
Thank you.
All right.
So savory. If you need a big set, I've got big sets. All right. just-
Okay, I don't
If
think
you
so.
do, though, I've got
All
them. In case anybody's got a squint.
All right, so Silva Street. Again, this is another request for the determination of applicability. Notice is hereby given in accordance with the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act, MGL Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Carver Wetlands Protection Bylaw, that a public hearing will be held at 7:00 PM on Wednesday, December 6, 2023, in Meeting Room 1 at the Carver Town Hall to hear the request for determination of applicability, RDA, filed by Weathervane at Patriot Pines, to determine A, whether the work depicted on the reference plans and/or maps is subject to jurisdiction of the Wetlands Protection Act, and D, whether the area and/or work depicted on the reference plans is subject to the jurisdiction of any municipal wetlands ordinance or bylaw of the town of Carver. The RDA is for determination as to whether an isolated area is jurisdictional under the WPA and the Carver Wetlands Protection Bylaw. The property is located on Silva Street, Assessors Map 37, lots 4-3 and 4-F in Carver. All interested parties are invited to attend. Good evening.
Good evening. John Zimmer on behalf of Weathervane at Patriot Pines. This is the resubmittal of an RDA. This was originally filed back in 2019. The property in question has been historically used for sand and gravel removal. We submitted the RDA basically as a jurisdictional determination back in 2019. The operation in several areas excavated down to the groundwater table and just left it. So there were 3 isolated pockets that had standing water within them. At that time, we reviewed the area with Brooke Monroe, who was the agent at the time, and the commission voted to issue a negative determination under 1, 4, and 6. So this past year, the 3-year period, along with the COVID extension, expired. In speaking with Gary, we've determined that there really wasn't a good mechanism for extending a determination of applicability. So he recommended that we file a new one, which would give us another 3 years should the commission issue another negative determination. Nothing within the property has really changed. They have continued to work it. 2 of the isolated areas have been filled in subsequent to that 2019 determination, and they've been out this year working the site as well. So, we would request that the commission reissue that negative determination, basically that there are no jurisdictional wetland resource areas within the property.
All right, thank you. We, all of us sitting at this table, went to a site visit this morning. And I think I'm the only one who was there before. I think everyone else was their first time out there. So not much has changed since I was out there the last time. There were 2 places that had been filled in per our earlier approval. And when we were out there 4 years ago or so, there was a lot of debris. Old tires, things like that. That's all been cleaned up, which is great. The place looks a lot better. And the one remaining area that is lower than the rest. Has not been filled in yet, but it hasn't changed since we issued the negative determination 4 years ago. So does anyone on our board have any questions?
They pretty much answered in the field.
Yeah. Everything. was
Okay.
straightforward.
Is anyone from the audience here for this? No? All right, is there anything you'd like to add? Is there anything?
Nope, I would suggest, to yourself and the applicant, do something with it because I don't know how many more times it's gonna go, but that would be it.
Thank you.
Because they're in the 5-year, statutory, exemption, so.
Right, right. Well, I think that the fact that some work has been done, I think that the fact that they're here in front of us means that something's probably imminent.
Yep,
Or
I do too.
at least planned. All right, that being said, I will, and this would be a -1.
Right,
Okay. Do you just want to explain the differences between,
I gotta read them.
okay.
I don't have them memorized.
Well, I mean, we've got new
No,
people.
no, no, it's
We've got
fine.
new people on board, so I'd like
all right.
everyone just to know.
All right. Negative means you folks don't see any reason why they need to file in an OI. So it has, no bearing on either our bylaws or DEP's rules. Anyway, number one, the area described in the request is not an area subject to protection under the act of the, buffer zone. All right. Two, it's similar. That there's not going to remove fill, dredge, or alter the area. That's the only change from number one. Three, you all know that the work described in the request is within the buffer zone as defined in the regulations, but will not alter an area to protection under the act. Therefore, said work does not require the filing of an NOI, notice of intent, and I can, or you folks can, condition it. And number four is pretty much the same thing as number three, but no conditions.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
in this particular case, there's no bordering vegetated wetland, so this is, it's just a hole that was dug at some point.
Exactly,
That has
from
cattails,
excavation.
cattails growing in it. All right, so I will accept a motion for a -1 determination on the RDA for Silver Street.
So moved.
Second?
Oh, you're also going to want to do 6, because that's the second page after. That means it does not affect the bylaw.
Okay,
They
so,
actually give us our own bylaw,
okay, so
1 and 6.
I'll revise that motion to a negative determination 1 and 6.
Thank you.
Is there a 5? You never.
We could, I mean.
No. Okay.
It's up to you.
All right, motion made by Dave Hall, seconded by Carl Miller. All right, all those in favor of the negative determination, say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Hearing none. It is approved, 5-0.
Very good.
Thanks very much.
Very much.
Have a nice holiday.
You as well.
You too.
Okay. Next up, a continued hearing for Off Green Parkway, formerly known as Montello Street, NOI SE 126676. And this, we heard most of this at our last meeting, but there were some clerical issues. So we had to have them come back. There were also some more questions. So, give me 1 second, please, and then we'll go. Paperwork. Good evening again.
Good evening. Good to see you all again.
Hold time out for a second.
Sure.
Please, you're going to have to read the legal ad again because it was revised,
Oh, okay,
for the record.
that's fine.
Thank you.
Okay, so, notice is hereby given in accordance with the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act. Oh, you're right. We added a variance. MGL Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Carver Wetlands Protection Bylaw that a public hearing will be held at 7:00 p.m. on Wednesday, December 6, 2023, in Meeting Room 1 at the Carver Town Hall to hear the request for a notice of intent submitted by Route 44 Development. The proposed project includes the construction of 2 new subdivision roads, a cul-de-sac, associated landscaping, stormwater management components, and utilities. Proposed work will occur within a small portion of degraded and previously disturbed riverfront area and within the 100-foot buffer zone to inland banking and bordering vegetated wetlands. Some activity will be conducted within the 65-foot buffer and will require a variance from the Carver Wetlands Protection Bylaw. The project is located off Green Park Way, formerly known as Montello Street. 0 Cobb's Pond, 0, 10A, 10B, 12, 16, 18, and 20 Montello Street in Carver. Carver Assessors Map 20, Lots 2, 2-1, 14, Map 22, Lots 3, 3A, 3B, 3C, 3-1, 4, 5A, 10, 10-1, and 11. All interested parties are invited to attend. Revised from the November 3rd, 2023 notice of a public hearing. Okay.
Say
Now we
that
can- now
fast
we
3
can go.
times.
Okay,
It's a mouthful.
now we can go.
Well done. Good to see you all again. Zach Richards, I'm a project manager with Bowler. We're the civil site engineer. On the project with me tonight is Chris Lucas with Lucas Environmental, our wetland scientist, and we're here representing the owner applicant Route 44 Development LLC. We went through a lot of the scope at the last hearing in front of you on the 15th of November. And we also did a site walk that day where we walked all the jurisdictional areas as well as the areas of mitigation. Since then, we've been in front of the planning board on November 28th. Project was generally well received. No major comments with respect to the Conservation Commission jurisdiction. And then we did do a site walk with them this week on the 5th, yesterday morning. That generally went well, and they seemed very happy with the proposed mitigation as well, walking that area of the site. Quick reminder and overview, I have the plan up here on the board. Again, we are seeking a variance for work within 65 feet, and that's associated with road. This is Road A here at the bottom of the page. It is on the other side of Green Park Way, formerly known as Montello Street, which is on the left side of the page here, running generally north to south. So we are proposing that new curb cut, which technically falls within that 65-foot no-touch zone, even though it's on the other side of the roadway from the resource area. And there's work within the 100-foot buffer there. Similarly with Road B, curb cut there, proposed work within the 100-foot buffer there. And then we walked this area together, but the riverfront area here, we're proposing some work within that 200-foot riverfront area, but outside of the 100-foot area. And as part of the proposed project, we're proposing close to 14-to-1 mitigation and removing that existing paved access drive that really runs right up along the bank of that resource area there. So we think that's a great mitigation there as part of the project. And then there is some additional work within the 100-foot buffer zone a little further back in the site associated with some off-grading and that proposed stormwater basin, again, and mostly in previously disturbed developed areas there. I think that covers the high-level overview. Happy to dive back into detail on any of the other features or pieces of the proposed application. Again, a very comprehensive stormwater management system that meets all of the Mass DEP stormwater standards under new development. So we think a lot of great improvements over the existing stormwater and how it functions out there today, along with the mitigation. Chris and I are here, happy to answer any other questions that the board may have.
Have you had any feedback from the review engineer over the stormwater report?
No, nothing formal, but the initial feedback is that there's nothing really substantial or of concern,
Right.
and we expect a letter forthcoming that we hope to.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right, does anybody have any additional questions? Ann, I know that you weren't part of this. You weren't part of the original hearing, so you're going to have to abstain from the vote on this. But if you've
Yeah.
got any questions about this, by all means,
I don't.
Ask.
From what I understand, you're primarily right now focused on the road part of it. That's going to be changed.
yes, it's called a
slightly.
preliminary subdivision plan, and basically all it is creating the roadway and the infrastructure. There's nothing else planned. Anything that goes forward after this, if there are wetlands
Changes.
involved, they need to come back to us.
Okay.
So this is
Thank you.
just a preliminary subdivision plan. And we all took a walk, and the mitigation that they're doing right along the water's edge there is a paved road that they're going to remove and plant native species trees there. And it's a great solution, and certainly is 14 to 1, I think is what you said, your ratio. So it's a win-win,
Yep.
as we say. So, and the only reason they had to come back is that across the street from where Road B, I believe it is, or maybe Road A, the curb cut, there is a wetlands directly across the street, which is less than 65 feet.
Gotcha.
And that wasn't caught on the original notice of intent. So we just had to make sure that we had all the i's dotted and t's crossed on this. So it's a public hearing. Does anybody have any questions regarding this? All right, hearing none. So I will take accept a motion to close the hearing.
So moved.
All right, it's been moved by Carl and seconded by Curtis to close the hearing on NOI SE 126-676. Next, I will accept a motion to approve the NOI.
So moved.
Second.
All right, again, Carl and Curtis. We have to take a vote on closing the hearing, sorry. Just can't say yes. All right, so on the vote to close the hearing, that the motion was and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right. Next, approve the NOI. Moved.
I was here at the last meeting, so I guess I have to abstain, right? Is that-
Yes.
So
Okay,
just
abstain.
you three are voting.
Yeah.
Okay. That's right, I forgot that you were not here, but you've been out there before. so-
I've been there before.
Yeah.
I was here at the last meeting, so.
Okay. All right, so it's been moved and seconded to approve the NOI for 126-676. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Abstain.
Two
Abstain.
abstentions, so it's 3-0-2. And now that's with the normal conditions. Gary, is there any special conditions that you need to
No,
add to this?
I have a set of conditions I put out for like roadway construction, but it's pretty flat out there, so it's just, maintain erosion control, things of that nature.
Okay. All right, and finally, I will accept a motion to grant the variance for NOI SE 126-676.
So moved.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to grant the variance. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
Abstain.
Any opposed? None. 2 abstentions. Again, that's 3-0-2.
Would you like to see any signage placed out there? That's one special condition we could.
I don't know if that's
I
necessary
don't
yet.
either, but I thought I'd ask.
I don't think that's necessary yet.
Okay, I agree.
As this property becomes, moves down the road and we see what's going to go on the lots,
Right.
Then we'll have to make a determination where those signs go.
Okay.
Based on what is presented to us. So
Sounds
I
good.
don't think at this
Okay.
point,
Thought I'd ask.
no one's going to be there.
Your plan set's dated, what's the date? October 30th, 23? Just for the record?
I believe so.
Yes.
October 30th.
Yep.
And Gary, I have some extra copies of some of the sheets. I know you said some of the members.
Yeah, I know, but you should give them out.
You can take them home.
All right, so we need to get a copy signed.
Yep.
All right, so we're all approved on that.
It's bigger. All right, if you both come over, please, and sign your lives away. This will be the record copy, they'll sign it as well. Anywhere right up to there.
They wanted to hear about this,
Oh, okay.
I believe.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Great, thank you all. Have a good night.
Thank
All right, you
very
too.
much. Good night.
All right. The next up is approving the minutes from November 15th. I have one minor correction on the front page. Under 238 Tremont Street discussion, about halfway down. It says now, Mr. Moore asked for the wetlands person to do is take Google Earth image. So, well, I did the seventh time I read it. So it should say, Mr. Moore asked for the wetlands person to take Google Earth images and indicate where the flags go.
It's that young people talk.
I got you first time, it's fine. Get with it. That has been changed.
Okay, so does anybody have any other,
Just, I pointed out earlier that Ashley wasn't here, it's just.
oh, yes, and,
So I just updated it to say that I did the minutes remotely.
okay, very good. So I will entertain a motion to accept the minutes as revised.
So moved.
Second.
All right, Carl and Curtis again. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I would abstain.
Yep,
Abstain.
Yep. So we have, again, and we have a 302 for the approval of the minutes. And then finally, on our agenda are topics not reasonably anticipated. There was something that was brought up last night in the Redevelopment Authority meeting by one of the members of the RDA regarding a property on Indian Street where there is earth removal around a cranberry bog. And we went out and looked at it today at the tail end of our site visits. And there is work ongoing, and Gary, you were going to do some research on
I'll
that.
do some research and check it out.
It is property that abuts the conservation land that is in control of the Buzzards Bay Coalition. So I think that the gentleman who brought it up at last night's RDA was concerned about what could happen with any kind of erosion seeping into the conservation area. So that's one thing that was unanticipated, and that when we were out there today, it reminded me. Perhaps you can look into the Buzzards Bay Coalition and what they're doing with the land they received from Clark Griffith about 2 years ago, maybe a year and a half ago. It includes the property on Lakeview Street.
Right.
And also the property out on Indian Street.
Okay.
Because there's been, pretty much silence from them on they used CPC funding, partial CPC funding to purchase that.
We did get the money back, the $30,000 back from them.
We did.
Yes, yeah.
And what was their reason? Did they not?
It was a grant.
Okay.
And we had the front to put the money up front, and
Yep.
they reimbursed us.
Okay. Did they not need it, or they?
No, it's just how the deal that they struck with everyone. It was before my time, but from what I understand, it's just they were going to help us pay for it. We just had to put the money up front.
Okay. Well, I'd like to find out what's going on there. What their plans are for that.
But just so you know,
Okay.
that action happened about, about 6-7 months ago. We got that money back.
Okay. It's part of what they own is the unofficial parking area for all the people who fish on
Okay.
Sampson's Pond. And, we're in winter now, but it's, a day after the ice is gone, there are people out fishing.
Okay.
And just so that they're, in case people come to us and ask questions, we can have some kind of an answer as to, and it shouldn't just be us. I mean, the select board should know what's happening with it as well.
Okay.
So if we can find out.
Yep, I've
what-
got a contact with them, so.
Okay, yeah, I just want to know what their plans are and what their timeline is, if they have one yet.
Sure.
I know CPC's been trying to get in touch with them too, and they haven't responded, so.
Right, yeah, I was at the CPC
Yeah.
meeting
Every-
on another
every
matter.
meeting- Every meeting, we bring it up, and there's nothing to report on.
Yeah, so that kind of kicked it into, and then today, when, going to the property that was adjacent to it, I was just like, okay, so let's see what we can find out.
Sure. You all set with that? I got something maybe that wasn't anticipated.
Okay.
You want to mull a vice chair vote
Okay, we have to put that in the agenda, so
Yeah.
let's do that for January
for
3rd.
the next, okay.
All right, yes, we do have, well, yes, we have to reorganize, well, not reorganize, we have to replace Dan as vice chair.
Right.
Yes, we will do that on January 3rd, so we can add that to the agenda.
Just pointing to me. It's a
Okay.
seniority thing, right?
Not necessarily. So, unless there's anything else, I will accept a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second? All right, it's been moved and seconded. Dave and Carl. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, we're out. Thank you, Area 58.